You are welcome to the Messiah Revelation Ministry, which is a prophetic end-time ministry. We are dedicated to preparing the world for the arrival of the Messiah, Yeshua, Jesus Christ. We are also preparing the Hebrew Israelites who are scattered over the world. Today, our message is dedicated to the identity of the true Hebrews, and we are going to rely on three prophets in the Old Testament who will help us to prove the identity of the true Hebrew Israelites. And for us to start, we'll begin with our brother prophet Moses. Moses worked with God, a very close relationship, and after he led the first exodus of the Hebrews from Egypt, and the Lord told him that his people will be sent to another Egypt, a land of bondage. And this time, they will be sent in ships. And so we have to look at the identity of the people who were sent into Egypt again in ships. And we will have a clue from the prophecy given by Moses. And we'll go to Deuteronomy 28, verse 68. Deuteronomy 28 contains both the blessings and the curses of the true Hebrews who are the chosen of God. And in Deuteronomy 28, the Lord told the prophet Moses what will happen to the true Hebrews. So let's look at Deuteronomy 28, verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships by the way whereof I spoke unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again, and there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondsmen and bondswomen, and no man shall buy you. And so this is the testimony of Moses, is a prophecy given by our prophet, our senior prophet, Moses, who led the first exodus from Egypt. And so the prophecy from Moses talking about ships. And so the true children of the Lord Elohim, they will be sent into Egypt in ships. And the ships actually confirm that the Negroes, the people who are called Negroes, the black people are the true Hebrews, because history confirmed that they were sent into ships, a lot of them. The slave ships are a lot. And during the historic event, transatlantic slave trade, and they were sent into Egypt again. Exodus 20, verse 2 indicates that when the Bible uses the metaphor Egypt, it connotes a land of bondage. So which people were sent into a land of bondage? And which people were sent into a land of bondage in Egypt, in ships? How many times were they sent into a land of bondage? The prophet Moses in Deuteronomy 28:68 is saying that the Lord will send the Hebrews into Egypt again. It means that at least more than one time. And where the Negroes sent into Egypt more than one time, yes, the first Egypt, and then the second Egypt, and the second Egypt, I believe the United States is the Egypt that the Lord was speaking of, a mystery Egypt. And The ship's records are there. Was there any ship that landed in Egypt, America in 1619? And were there other ships? Do you remember a ship, um, a ship that led Negroes to Jamaica? The Zone. You remember the Zone massacre? Zong. A British ship called the Zong, and they were carrying slaves, black slaves, Negro slaves from Ghana. They were heading towards Jamaica, and quote unquote, they had an emergency, and the Negro slaves were thrown into the sea. And that experience actually confirms the curses that the true Hebrews will go through as you read the whole chapter of Deuteronomy, chapter 28. If you read the whole chapter, Deuteronomy 28, you actually confirm that there's no group of people in the world who fit the prophecy as outlined in Deuteronomy chapter 28. And so our prophet Moses, his prophecy in Deuteronomy 28:68 confirmed that the true Hebrews were people who were sent into a land of bondage again, and this time they were sent by way of ships. The record is very clear that that description fits black people, black men, women, people who are considered the wretched of the earth, the outcasts, the outcasts of Israel and the dispersed of Judah. These are the people, black people who were taken out of their place, and they were sent into captivity. And the ships, the word ships, the word into Egypt again, and also the word they will be sold. We're talking about slavery, talking about ships, talking about captivity. Yes, we are talking about the transatlantic slave trade. The records are clear. The slave dungeons are dotted all over the African continent. That confirmed that the prophet Moses was talking about the true Hebrews, who are the black people who are also called the Negroes. So thanks for Deuteronomy 28:68. We know a clue about who the true Hebrews are. The next prophet who confirmed the identity of the true Hebrews is the prophet Zephaniah. So we'll go through the writings of the prophet Zephaniah. The prophet Zachariah. The prophet Zachariah. Zechariah chapter 10, verse 10. And in the Bible, it talks about the Lord will care for Judah. The prophet Zachariah is talking about God caring for Judah. And so let's go to Zechariah chapter 10, 10 verse 10. I'll bring them again also out of the land of Egypt and gather them out of Assyria. And so the prophet Zechariah is talking about the Lord gathering his people from a place, from Egypt, and also from Assyria. And Egypt is a land of bondage. Assyria is also a land of bondage. If you read your Bible history, Assyria was one of the major empires that existed in biblical times, and also put the children of God under bondage. And so the prophet Zechariah is saying that the Lord will bring them, Judah, again out of the land of Egypt and gathered them out of Assyria. And so here we're talking about a people who will be gathered from Egypt and from Assyria, both places being land of bondage. Exodus 20 verse 2 refers to Egypt as a land of bondage. And we are in Zachariah, so we'll read Zechariah chapter 10 verse 6. Zechariah 10 verse 6. And I will strengthen the house of Judah, and I will save the house of Joseph. And I will bring them again to place them, for I have mercy upon them. For I have mercy upon them. So the prophet Zechariah is talking about a group of people, Judah. Is a tribe where the Messiah is from, the tribe of Judah. The prophet Zechariah is saying, I will strengthen the house of Judah and I will save the house of Joseph. So you are looking at Judah and you are looking at Joseph. Who is Judah? Did Judah live in Egypt? Yes. Was it the place where the Egyptians were black people? Yes. Historical records show. Importantly, the work of Sheikh Anta showed that Egypt was a land of Negroes, and that is the Egypt where the children of Jacob lived. And the prophet Zachariah is saying the Lord will strengthen the house of Judah. Judah married in Egypt, and the Lord will also strengthen, it will save the house of Joseph. Did Joseph live in black Egypt? Yes, he did. Did Joseph marry in Egypt? Yes, he did. He married Asenath. Did he have children of Asenath? Yes. Ephraim and Manasseh. And what is the prophet Zechariah saying? Zechariah 10 verse 6. I will strengthen the house of Judah and I will save the house of Joseph. So the Lord will strengthen the house of Judah and will also save the house of Joseph. What does it mean? It means that the Lord will save the house of Israel and the house of Judah. And when we're talking about the Lord saving Judah in Zechariah 10 verse 6, where do you find Judah in the old maps in Africa? You find it in West Africa, the 1747 old map, ancient map of Africa. You locate the kingdom of Judah in West Africa, the same place that Europeans call the Slave Coast. It was from this place that the children of Judah were taken as slaves again into Egypt the second time, as you see in Deuteronomy 28 verse 68, as written by our brother prophet Moses. And so Judah is very, very significant in the sense that Judah established a kingdom in West Africa after the events of AD 70, the destruction and desolation of Jerusalem. The children of Judah, they were scattered and they settled in different places, and they had a kingdom called the Kingdom of Judah. And the Europeans are aware that there was a kingdom of Judah in West Africa. Is confirmed on the maps, the old maps. The maps are now all of a sudden they are out of print. They are not in circulation. But the 1747 map of West Africa shows the kingdom of Judah. And the same place where you have the slave coast, and the same place where slaves were taken and they were dispersed to the four corners of the earth to fulfill prophecy. And so when the prophet Zachariah is talking about God saving Judah, he's talking about the Judah that was scattered to Africa and other places as a result of the desolation of Jerusalem in AD 70. The prophet Zachariah is talking about the Judah, the kingdom of Judah, those who were taken into captivity again in ships, as outlined in Deuteronomy 28, verse 68. So the prophet Zechariah is confirming that the true Hebrews are the black people, those who had a kingdom in the kingdom of Judah in West Africa after they moved from Jerusalem and they were scattered. They fled the desolation of Jerusalem, and the historic records are there. Nobody can destroy the slave dungeons that are dotted in Africa, particularly in Ghana, and nobody can disown or actually dispute the establishment of the kingdom of Judah in West Africa as confirmed by the 1747 map of West Africa. So the prophet Zechariah is saying that the Lord will save Joseph and the Lord will strengthen Judah. Prophetically, the Lord will strengthen Judah. And as I've said in other videos, based upon revelation, in the end times, in the last days, I don't know the time, but a time will come in. A time will be coming when the richest nation in the world will be located in the slave coast and the former slave coast in West Africa, a place where they used to call it the slave coast, but in the end times the Lord will establish Judah based upon Zechariah 10, verse 6. And it's a confirmation that the Lord will establish a black people, a black nation, the nation of Judah, scattered over the world. Historical records also show that the children of Judah were taken to other parts, not only in the United States, but also other parts of the world, including Jamaica. The records are there. Historical research has confirmed that the people in Jamaica are actually descendants from Ghana, and they are from the tribe of Judah. Records are there. And so, apart from the prophet Moses, who confirms that the true Hebrews will be sent into captivity into Egypt again in ships, the prophet Zechariah is also saying that the Lord will bring them again out of the land of Egypt and gather them out of Assyria. And the prophet Zechariah is saying that the Lord will strengthen Judah, the Lord will save Joseph. So if you combine Judah and Joseph, then you will say that the Lord will save Israel and the Lord will save Judah. So let's go to the third prophet who is very important in our discussion, and that is the prophet Isaiah, who is a leading prophet on the regathering of the true Hebrews who are scattered over the world. And the prophet Isaiah's prophecy is a confirmation about who the true Hebrews are, because if you don't fit Isaiah prophecy, then you don't fit scriptures. Isaiah 11:11, and it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria, and from Egypt, and from Pathros, and from Cush, and from Elam, and from Shinar, and from Hamath, and from the islands of the sea. The description is a voluminous description of the identity of the true Hebrews, and the identity can be gleaned, can be deciphered, can be decoded from the places where the children of God will be gathered from. And we can remember that they will be gathered from Egypt and Assyria. And the two places are also mentioned in Zachariah chapter 10, verse 10. The Lord will gather them again from Egypt and Assyria, and the places are repeated in Isaiah 11, verse 11. And you also gather them from Cush, and historically, we know the people who occupy Cush and who the prophet Isaiah is talking about. The prophet Isaiah is also talking about the islands of the sea, not one island, but the islands of the sea. And the United States is an island. By this definition, is a land of bondage. The Caribbean islands and is an island of the sea are described in Isaiah 11, verse 11. And so it's very clear that at least these three prophets, Moses, Zechariah, and Isaiah, they confirm the identity of the true Hebrews. They are the black people who fled, and the children of God who fled from Jerusalem AD 70. They were scattered over the world. They were the true children of God. And when we're talking about Judah, as the prophet Zachariah is talking about Judah, that the Lord will strengthen Judah in Masada, the land of Judah in Israel. There was a resistance against the Romans when they came in, and archaeological records show the remains of Negroes in Masada, the land of Judah, is showing that, of course, the Judeans, they were black people. They fled, and second evidence is that they established a kingdom, the kingdom of Judah. And while we Europeans recognized the kingdom of Judah and put it on a map, 1747 map in West Africa, it means that they knew the identity of the people who lived and established the kingdom of Judah. And it also means that the Europeans, the Gentile powers, the captors, they knew the people who they were enslaving. And if they knew the Bible, at that time, definitely they knew that they were taking them into ships into another Egypt, a land of bondage. That is a fulfillment of the prophecy as outlined in Deuteronomy 28, verse 68. And the prophet Zachariah, in Zechariah 10, verse 6, is saying that the Lord will strengthen Judah, and the Lord will also save Joseph. It means the Lord will save the children of Joseph, those who were born in Egypt, the first land of captivity, and they were born of a woman, a black woman called Asenath. And the prophet Zechariah is saying that the Lord will save Joseph. He will save Israel. The Lord will strengthen Judah, and the Lord will have mercy on them. The Lord will have mercy on the Negroes. The Lord will have mercy on the black people. The Lord will have mercy on those people who are considered the wretched of the earth. The Lord will have mercy on those people who are now considered the tail. And the Lord will have mercy on those people who were enslaved during the transatlantic slave trade. And all the three prophets are confirming. Moses is confirming that the true Hebrews will be those who will be shipped into a land of bondage again. And the prophet Zachariah is saying that the Lord will gather them from Egypt and from Assyria, two places that symbolize lands of bondage in biblical history, history of the true Israelites. You see Egypt, you see Assyria, and the prophet Zechariah is saying that the Lord will gather the true Hebrews again from Egypt and Assyria. And the prophet Isaiah is also expanding on the secrets, and that will help us to identify who the true Hebrews are. And in Isaiah 11:11 is talking about the places where the true Hebrews are scattered. And the prophet Isaiah is also saying that the regathering will be a future event. It will be by the way of the coming of the Messiah, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the root of Jesse. And so the prophet Isaiah is putting to shame those who falsely conclude that the true Hebrews are already gathered, referring to the 1948 state. And so in this video, we have relied on the writings of three great prophets of the Bible. Moses, indicating that the true Hebrews are those who were sent into a land of bondage, Egypt, again in ships. And of course, the Moses prophecy fits the transatlantic slave trade, and it fits the kingdom of Judah that is on the map of West Africa, 1747 map. The prophet Zechariah is talking about the Lord strengthening Judah, and the prophet is talking again about the kingdom of Judah. He's talking about the Judah that was scattered by the horns, by Gentile powers. The people of Judah scattered from Jerusalem through the invasion of the Gentile power, the Romans, and those who also enslaved them, the horns that scattered Judah from the kingdom of Judah. The prophet Zechariah is saying that the Lord will strengthen Judah and will save Joseph. And the prophet Isaiah is repeating the words of Zechariah, and he's saying that the Lion of the tribe of Judah, he will gather the outcasts of Israel and the dispersed of Judah, using the same language of the prophet Zechariah. And when you look at Isaiah 11:11, you will know that the places where the true Hebrews will be gathered from is an indication that these Hebrews are the true Hebrews, and they are Negroes. These are the black people, black men who were shipped into lands of bondage in Egypt and Assyria of our time, and Elohim will gather them. It will not be in 1948. It will be the time when the Messiah comes, because it will be the Messiah himself that will do the gathering of the true Hebrews. So we are not talking about 1948 state. We are talking about the true Hebrews. And so the prophet Moses, Zechariah, and Isaiah, they have provided clues about the true identity of the Hebrews. They are the Hebrew Israelites, those who people mock and describe as Negroes. These are the people who are the true Hebrew who are scattered over the world in the four corners of the earth, in the islands of the sea. And these are the true Hebrews. And so we can rely on the prophecies in Deuteronomy written by Moses. We can rely on the prophecy in Zachariah 10 verse 10, Zechariah 10 verse 6. We can also rely on the prophecy in Isaiah 11 verse 11. And if you need more prophecy, then we can fall on the prophecy in Zephaniah, Zephaniah the son of Cushi, who says that in the end time, the worshippers of God will come and offer their offerings. They will give their offerings to the Elohim. They will come from beyond the rivers of Ethiopia. When the prophet Zephaniah, the son of Cushi, is talking about people coming to give their offering to God from beyond the rivers of Ethiopia, the prophet Zephaniah is giving you a hint on the identity of the true children of God who will be coming from beyond the rivers of Ethiopia. Beyond the rivers of Ethiopia include the land beyond Ethiopia, beyond the rivers of Ethiopia, including beyond the New Egypt, people who were scattered across the world via the transatlantic slave trade. Thank you for watching this video, and share the links. My email is raptureafrica@yahoo.com, small letters. Thank you.